Good morning, and thank you for attending Police Headquarters. My name is Constable Carolyn DeClute, and I am here today to introduce Detective Sergeant Rob Stewart from Financial Crimes Unit, Toronto Police Service. He is here today to kick off Fraud Prevention Month. Detective Sergeant?
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to the members of the media gallery this morning and to our partners present. As stated, I'm Detective Sergeant Stewart from the Financial Crimes Unit, Corporate Crime Section, Toronto Police. Today, it is with great enthusiasm that we officially kick off the Fraud Prevention Month that runs through the month of March. We're joined by representatives from the Canadian Competition Bureau, the Bank of Canada, the Insurance Bureau of Canada, the Canadian Bankers Association, and Interac. We have coordinated some exciting events for the month of March, and this year marks the 12th anniversary of the annual Education and Awareness Campaign for Fraud Prevention Month. The philosophy is for Canadians to recognize, report, and stop fraud. The Canadian Competition Bureau is the organization that spearheads Fraud Prevention Month, together with 125 law enforcement organizations and public and private sector organizations that combat fraud. Fraud does not know any barriers with respect to age, gender, socioeconomic levels, intellect, or specific cultural groups. We are all equally vulnerable to the fraudster that would convince each and every one of us that they are genuine with their request for money. However, the end result in all cases of fraud is the great personal loss to our families and livelihoods. One of the events that is occurring in the month of March is our third annual hashtag Don't Be Fooled event. It's a joint initiative with 43 Division Toronto Police, 43 Division with the Financial Crimes Unit in Toronto Police, and our social media working group, and the Toronto District School Board. This event will be held on March 2nd, next week at 10 a.m. at West Hill Collegiate at 350 Morningside Avenue out in Scarborough. This particular event has been created for students who engage in social media to be smart about their use of social media. We invite members of the media to attend that event and join us on March 2nd. At this time, we'll get things started, and I'd like to invite Stephan Luciw, Assistant Deputy Commissioner of the Competition Bureau, to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Rob, for that warm introduction. I'm delighted to be here today to take part in the Toronto Police Services Fraud Prevention Month launch. The Bureau works closely with the Toronto Police to combat fraud through strategic partnership that involves a number of enforcement agencies and government departments in both the United States and Canada, some of which are here today and you'll be hearing from. The Bureau's role in fraud prevention and enforcement comes from its mandate to promote truth in advertising and to protect consumers from deceptive marketing practices. Our work has shown us that the best weapon against fraud is information, and so 12 years ago, we founded Fraud Prevention Month. Since March of 2004, we have reached out to law enforcement, consumers, and businesses, and I'm pleased to say that we now have some 100 partners, including the Toronto Police, in what has become a Fraud Prevention Forum. Before I talk about Fraud Prevention Month this year, I would like to take a moment to share a story that touches some of the key points that the Bureau and its partners are going to talk about this month. A few months ago, the Globe and Mail published a story of an educated, professional, middle-aged woman, a mother who had raised 5 sons, amongst them a doctor, 2 engineers, and a financial professional. Now, this isn't the kind of person we envision when we talk about a picture of a victim of fraud. Sadly, this woman was a target of an online scam that in a matter of weeks robbed her of over $500,000 and of her home. She was left in financial ruin and ashamed. But despite this, she reported her crime to the police. In turn, 9 individuals were charged in a number of similar cases. Unfortunately, she has yet to recover any of her stolen savings. This story underscores three things that we know about fraud. Number one, anyone can be a victim of fraud, regardless of your age, your income, your level of education, your gender. You are a target. Number two, fraudsters are developing increasingly sophisticated means of targeting potential victims, and new technologies have only furthered their ability to do so. This means that we must be vigilant in our efforts to identify and report fraudulent activity when we have been a victim or an intended target. And third, fraud can and does cause financial ruin to its victims, and the only way to stop it is to report it. These three facts tie in directly with the theme for this year's Fraud Prevention Month, which, as Rob mentioned, is fraud. Recognize it, reject it, report it. By recognizing it, we are asking Canadians and Canadian businesses to question the legitimacy of every inquiry they receive, every deal they are offered, especially those that are online and on social media. Once they've recognized the scam, the next step is to reject it. Delete the email, hang up the phone, or throw out the materials. And third and final step is to report it to the appropriate law enforcement agency. We are now 12 years after the first Fraud Prevention Month, and reporting still remains the greatest barrier to stronger enforcement of fraudulent activities. The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre estimates that more than 95% of fraud-related crime goes unreported. I cannot underscore this enough. Reporting is the only means to which we can bring perpetrators to justice and effectively warn the public about scams. Informed consumers are the greatest weapon against fraud. To this end, the Bureau is holding a number of events this month. On March 8th, as part of our annual Too Good to Be True Day, we'll be hosting a Twitter chat with a number of our partners to share experiences and provide tips on how to avoid to become a victim of fraud. While we'll be speaking of all kinds of scams, this year our focus will be on subscription traps and free trial scams. On March 16th, we'll be hosting Canada's third annual Anti-Cartel Day. This day will be focused on raising awareness on other types of fraud, such as bid rigging and price fixing. There are some other activities with some of our partners, like the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses and the Better Business Bureaus across Canada, and we'll be unveiling them throughout the month. I'm happy to say the Bureau will also be present at events in Vancouver, in Montreal, and in Halifax. We'll also be reaching out on social media and sharing the excellent work done by our fellow members of the Fraud Prevention Forum. On a final note, I encourage all Canadians to engage with the Bureau and its partners over the next month to learn to protect themselves. But most of all, we want people to come forward to the authorities, like the Toronto Police, the RCMP, the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, and the Bureau. We need people to tell their stories, like the woman I told you about a few minutes ago. The best way for Canadians to protect themselves against fraud is to recognize it, reject it, and report it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephan. I wholeheartedly agree with that. The more people we have coming forward to talk to us, the better we are armed as police officers to arrest the offenders and get them before the courts. Next up, we have Manuel Parreira from the Bank of Canada.
Thank you, Sergeant Stewart. Welcome, everybody. It is my pleasure today to represent the Bank of Canada in support of Fraud Prevention Month and to stand alongside my colleagues to ensure that we reach out to Canadians on how to protect themselves today and in the future from various frauds. As you might already know, the Bank of Canada is solely responsible for issuing Canadian banknotes and has a strong interest in the sound payment and financial system. We recognize that fraud in its various forms can have serious impact on confidence in the marketplace, and we strongly believe that education and awareness is a great step in the right direction to fighting fraud. In Canada, increases of counterfeit money in the past has led us to issuing new and more secure banknotes and to partner more closely with police and retailers to deal with the problem. Most counterfeit bills enter circulation at a retail point of sale, so you need to ensure that the appropriate process is in place to protect you from the loss incurred by accepting a counterfeit bill. While we've seen significant decrease of counterfeit money since the issue of the Palmer series or the Frontier series in Canada, We continue to work hard at ensuring Canadians are protected from counterfeit losses for both Canadian and U.S. money. Detecting counterfeiting is as easy as feeling and tilting the bill. Our polymer banknotes include innovative technology and Canadian ingenuity. It is made from a single piece of polymer which has some transparent areas and includes a smooth, unique texture. In addition, we have incorporated security features such as raised ink, a metallic portrait and building, and a frosted maple leaf which includes a hidden number. This all makes it easy to use and very difficult to counterfeit. On the other hand, the U.S. money is made of paper, 25% linen and 75% cotton, and also includes a number of security features that are easy to use and difficult to counterfeit. These features include a watermark, color-shifting ink, raised texture, and a security thread. Furthermore, the new U.S. $100 bill has incorporated a 3D security ribbon to make it more difficult for counterfeiters to copy. Even with the most advanced security features, the fight against counterfeit has to start with you, the educated consumer, who continues to be the best line of defense. Counterfeiting is a crime of opportunity. The success of criminals depends on whether or not retailers and consumers are diligent at checking their banknotes. The Bank of Canada and our partners here today recognize that it is our role to provide you with the information and tools needed to fight fraud on the front lines. Our goal is to ensure consumers and retailers have clear, simple, and easy-to-use tools, information, and services needed to make that happen. Regardless of the type of fraud, it's quick and easy to fight once you know what to look for and how to stop it. We work hard at earning our money. Why not invest a few moments to learn how to protect it? Thank you.
Thank you, Manny. Next up from the Insurance Bureau of Canada is Kathy Metzger.
Good morning, and thank you to Toronto Police Services for inviting the Insurance Bureau of Canada to speak here today at this important event. Our first speaker today discussed how we could all become a victim of fraud and how awareness is key. It is no different for the auto insurance crime industry. Auto insurance crime is estimated to cost billions of dollars per year. And although this is an alarming figure, it is not the only concern that we have. There are other serious costs to insurance crime. Every time we act upon an insurance crime, whether it's denial of a claim, prosecution, what we're doing is educating the bad guys on what not to do the next time. As a result, they've had to become more sophisticated in what they do. And as our first speaker indicated, with the advanced technology and everything that's out there, that's definitely the case. They've become more sophisticated. One of the results of that is that they're targeting innocent people. So you and I could be on our way home today from this event and be forced into a collision, for example, a staged collision, just so that the other people can, make their claim for injuries. There could be an injury or a death associated with a staged collision gone horribly, horribly wrong. There is an abuse of our medical system. For everyone who claims an injury that is not real, they're going to a rehabilitation center, and as a result of that claims process, they may be referred to medically unnecessary assessments, treatments, or examinations, costing our healthcare system time and money. Emergency services are also abused as a result of auto insurance crime. Fire department, police, ambulance could be called to the scene of an incident that isn't real. That costs taxpayers money, but it also takes those important emergency services away from someone who actually needs it. These things should be of concern to all of us, to consumers, to the insurance industry, to law enforcement, and to the government. And as indicated earlier, we could all become victims. You could be targeted in that staged collision, or you could have a real injury as a result of a real collision and end up in a medical ring that would bill for services never received. Our young people are often recruited for these scams. The organized groups that are setting these up, they need people. The more people that they have participating, the more money that they make. Young people can be promised a few $1,000s to participate in an organized crime, and it's attractive to them because they are in school, they need a little bit of extra cash, they're new to driving, they pay quite a bit in insurance premiums, so it's sometimes very attractive to them. And they're promised that they won't get caught, or if they do get caught, it's a very minor penalty. We all could be victims of auto theft if our vehicle is targeted by organized groups for shipment overseas. We all could be targeted if we're looking to buy a used vehicle, and we may unknowingly purchase a vehicle that's been stolen and had its identity changed. Cargo theft is a huge problem. It's estimated to cost billions of dollars a year alone. That cost is not just absorbed by the industry. It is then passed on to consumers so that we are all paying more for our goods as a result of it. Many organizations, as you see today, many organizations work together to increase consumer awareness on fraud issues. IBC participates in a lot of those. For example, we participate in the Lock It and Lose It campaign, where we're giving consumers tips to protect your vehicle from being stolen. We do annual tours where we go out into the communities and talk to people about insurance crime and answer questions that you may have. We've also got some brochures over here on the side dealing with how to not become a victim of an injury fraud, how to protect your vehicle from being stolen, and also how to protect yourself from buying a stolen vehicle. I encourage you to take them with you and take some extras for your family and friends as well. It's important that we all work together. It is not the responsibility of one individual, one organization, or one industry to fight fraud. We all need to work together. If you need any more information with respect to general insurance or insurance crime, please visit our website at www.ibc.ca, and you can also follow us on Twitter at Insurance Bureau. And please, if you think that you or someone you love have been victimized by insurance fraud, please report it. Or if you think there's something suspicious, you can go to your local police, you can go to Crime Stoppers, or call our 1-800 number, our tips line, 1-877-IBC-TIPS. Thank you for your time and your support in fighting against insurance crime.
Thanks, Kathy. Next up, we have Mark Sullivan, Head of Fraud Market Management from Interact. Mark.
Good morning, and thank you for the introduction. Thanks for having us here today. At Interact, we take great pleasure and pride in our relationships with various law enforcement agencies, government agencies, and obviously those in the private and public sectors. We have an extensive network, both domestically and globally, that allows us to provide Canadian consumers with some of the best protection when they are utilizing their cards and products to obtain their hard-earned funds. This is an exciting month for us, and we're taking part in many similar fraud prevention opportunities across Canada. And as some of you may have seen earlier this morning, we issued our Interact debit fraud numbers for 2015 earlier on this morning. For the 6th year in a row, they are a record new low. Great news for us, and great news obviously for the consumer, as well as our stakeholders and the payments chain in general. The payments chain includes the consumers, merchants, financial institutions, payment service providers, and of course law enforcement. Since 2009, we have seen Interact debit fraud losses drop almost 92%, with only $2 million of fraud exploitation in Canada in 2015. This means that fraud in Canada occurred on only 0.0005% of Interact debit transactions. However, we are not complacent, and any fraud is too much fraud. Our record low fraud numbers represent our successful and continuing efforts to keep fraud at bay and to constantly frustrate and combat criminals. We need to remain vigilant, and we will continue to work with all of our stakeholders and partners to fight fraud. We are delighted to participate in today's kickoff with our esteemed partners and look forward to a very successful Fraud Prevention Month. Again, thank you for the opportunity. It's been great to be here this morning.
Thanks, Mark. Finally, we have Maura Drew Lytle, the Director of Communications from the Canadian Bankers Association.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today for the kickoff of Fraud Prevention Month, and I'd like to thank Toronto Police for organizing this event. For banks in Canada, protecting our customers from fraud and educating them about the simple steps they can take to protect themselves is a key priority. The Canadian Bankers Association and the banks themselves are pleased to get together with representatives from government, law enforcement, and other businesses to educate the public about fraud. And we've been long-standing members of the Fraud Prevention Forum. Banks in Canada have extensive security measures in place to protect their customers from fraudulent activity. For example, when using credit and debit cards, transactions are electronically monitored to look for any unusual activity that could be an indication of fraud. There are verification questions when you're doing online banking that only you should know, and chip and PIN technology has significantly reduced fraud from skimming, as Mark outlined just previously. And most importantly for our customers, the banks have zero liability policies for credit and debit card fraud. And if you're the victim of fraud, the bank has you covered and you won't be responsible for those transactions. But there are also simple steps that customers can take to protect themselves. And today I'd like to briefly talk about the 3 things that people can do to choose safe PINs and passwords for credit and debit cards and online banking accounts. Number 1, make it hard to guess. Don't use your own address, phone number, or birth date, or those of loved ones. Also, don't use your bank account, debit card, or credit card number when choosing a PIN. All of these would be easy to guess for criminals. Number 2, make it different. Have different PINs for all of your payment cards. If a criminal has your wallet and guesses one PIN, they can get access to all of your accounts. And also make sure you use a unique password for your online banking and financial accounts. Otherwise, if someone hacks into your Facebook account, they can have access to your online banking as well. And change it up. Periodically change your PINs and passwords for added security, and certainly change them if you think that they have been compromised in any way. And once you've taken steps to choose safe PINs and passwords, it's important to protect them. Never write them down, memorize them. Shield your PINs and passwords when entering them in public. And don't share them with anyone, not even close family members. Information about choosing safe PINs and passwords can be found on the bank's websites and in your bank and credit card account agreements. Make sure you read those and understand them when choosing PINs and passwords. And at the Canadian Bankers Association, we have information on a variety of frauds and scams on our website and tips that consumers can use to protect themselves. That can be found at cba.ca/fraud, or you can follow us on Twitter at @CDNBankers. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much to everyone who's come and participated this morning with us. Fraud is big business. It affects all of us. And I encourage everyone to take a few minutes of their time and just examine every situation you come across that involves money and just raise the question in your mind, am I participating in a fraud here? Use a lot of the things you've heard today as a guideline and absolutely educate yourself on fraud. As has been said earlier, smart people get tricked just as easily as not so smart people. So we encourage education, and we're hoping this March we can further the education amongst everyone. At this time, media are invited to a question period with all the organizations, and there are some brochures over here. Thanks again to everyone who came out today.
That concludes today's conference. Thank you for attending.